You are watching Political Point Magazine, where the right is right and the left, well, the left is always on the wrong side of history. Why? Because of politics.
The truck kills.
So enjoy a conservative point of view. And let's talk pea soup. With tonight's top stories. Alert! 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 Another terrorist attack in France that Obama didn't see coming. Once again, which begs the question, is ISIS winning the war on terror? We cannot let this happen, folks. Terrorism is rampant. And Trump picks Indiana Governor Mike Pence for his VP. We will talk about that. And let's talk about how Bernie Sanders betrays his people and endorses crooked Hillary. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, the tables are turning. And Political Points has a warning about the new Pokemon Go craze that's all across the US and all across the world. And we will take it to the phones and talk to you, the viewers, as we talk about all this and more. But tonight, welcome, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Political Point Magazine. Ah, yes, my friends. Yes. Okay, well, now, my friends, it has come to the attention of this network once again that we have lots of work to do. All right, but
With people.
There's been another terrorist attack in France, mind you. This is the third time this year. Okay, mind you, at the beginning of the year, France had a terrorist attack. Okay, Obama misread the signals, and then didn't even have the nerve to show up when France was rallying everybody, and I mean everybody, okay? And then, towards the middle of the year, France had another terrorist attack, okay? And now, again, there's another terrorist attack in France. Why? You know, we had Brussels, you know, and now, again, why is this happening, my friends? Why in the world is this happening? Okay, because, you know, it just seems to me that we've had situations like this. All right, those are some of the shots there. Okay, and I want to show you again. I want to show you something else that has happened, like some of the shots here that have on this note here, okay? But let me show you this, okay? And you know, the terrorist at a hospital, okay, mind you.
Do too.
Whoops, hold up a second, okay? But there has been another terrorist attack and they say that this time almost 80 dead and over 100 injured in France. Okay, driver exchanges. Now there has been driver exchanges gunfire with police. Okay, the driver of an ambulance or another car, a truck, actually. Okay, and I want to show you some of this. This has come up several times, and we should be now on all over the world. Okay, all over the world, mind you. There should be an alert level of high alert, red alert. Okay, whatever happened to the color bar alerts? We are under attack. We are under attack, and they say that some Americans have fallen victim in France at this attack. All right, and just taking a look at some of the clips on this. I just shudder to even like here was something on Greta Van Susteren's On the Record. All right, but take a look. Take a look at this. All right, my friends, take a look.
I was on the beach, fireworks, along with most of Nice, when we were walking along looking to see if there was a concert taking place, at which point we saw a huge crowd of people running in a certain direction towards the old part of the town, and we could hear on the loudspeaker from the police cars instructions to run away, at which point myself and a friend went into the old part of the town, thinking that would be escaping from the situation. At this point, all we knew was that there had been a gunshot, and we didn't really have any more information. As soon as we arrived there, we also then saw people running towards us, and a lot of people crouching down, looking for doorways, somewhere to hide, and we could hear another shot, possibly another shooting, we weren't sure at the time. So we ran into a restaurant, which happened to lead to an alleyway, where we crouched down behind a car and waited there for about an hour. After about an hour and a half of waiting in the alleyway and then again in the restaurant, we were evacuated by the police, where our understanding was that they were at that point looking for a gunman, and so they were making us walk through with our hands up and checking that nobody was carrying any weapons at the time. After that, it was simply a matter of running to our apartment about 2 hours after the initial incident.
So you see, things have really gotten out of shape, and it's all a credit to Obama's lousy, failed foreign policy. All right, now we should be on high alert. All right, no more of this containment stuff. Okay, it's not working. President Obama is just oblivious to fighting terrorism. He just doesn't get it. And now we have this. Whatever happened to our coalition of 30 nations that were helping us combat ISIS? We wouldn't have even had this problem. We wouldn't have had the problem of ISIS if Obama didn't pull all of our troops out of Iraq. All right. He should have left a residual force of 10,000 troops. Okay, that would have kept the situation under control in Iraq. All right. I mean, we were winning in Iraq. Okay, and now it's spread all over the world. Okay, even in this country. All right, we cannot trust or rely on the politicians that are in power today, right now. Okay, because under Obama and the Democrats. Okay, now, I think there's another thing I wanted to show here. Okay, this guy recorded some.
This is
This is something that was recorded.
Here's a challenge, Greta.
when an attack happens, what do you see? You see a security apparatus deploying. That security apparatus will stop the next attack if it happens then. The problem, can we have that apparatus all the time? Checkpoints, roadblocks, monitoring
But
everything?
people don't want to live like that. After this is in our rearview mirror a bit, people forget about it.
Yes.
You know, I assume, and I'm making the assumption that they now know who owns the truck or wherever it came from. They're tracking people down. They've probably made a number of arrests because I'm sure that this person had some people worked with him. I expect that's.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's just a guy runs a truck in Nice, France. You know, I've never even been to France. You know, but people tell me it's the place where people go for romance. You know, I've never been to France. You know, but with all of these terrorist attacks popping up, ISIS is said to take responsibility for this. And you know, this is another example of poor leadership. You know, the United States of America, should be leading this fight on terrorism. Okay, number one, we had the terrorists attacked us first on 9/11, 2001. Okay. President Bush did the right thing in retaliating and taking the fight to the terrorists, installing the terror surveillance program and the Patriot Act, and developing the Department of Homeland Security. President Bush did all of that, and we were protected. Okay, under all of that. And now, under President Obama, he has dubbed all of that down. He has dubbed all of that down, my friends. It's, you know, he has broken up the Patriot Act. He has taken away our tools to fight and combat terrorists accurately. All right. And then there was the emergence of Edward Snowden, who revealed the Obama government and what they were doing as far as spying on everybody, you know, and you know, Edward Snowden, the only guy to beat the system, the only guy, whether or not you view him as a traitor or a hero, he beat the system and leaked out its terrible secrets. You know, and now we have this on our plates. You know, the Obama administration is a miserable failure, a miserable, dismal failure, taking us down the road of destruction and self-destruction, I might add. I mean, this is, you know, where are we going here? This is all the more reason to vote for Donald Trump as President of the United States. The issue now, and I have seen a lot of what the themes are for this for the convention that is this week, the GOP convention. All right, now, so we are making way for a Republican administration coming through, y'all. All right, and everything that I talked about, everything that you know, has come into play, is coming into play now. And so, for example, over the weekend now, okay, it was supposed to be on Friday, but they postponed the conference to Saturday. All right, but the big announcement my friends, the big announcement, which came up, okay, and this has come up, which is Trump's pick for VP, which takes us to the Veep stakes, okay. You know, I was somewhat confused about this because leading up to his decision, okay, leading up to his decision on picking VP, I really thought that he was going to pick Newt Gingrich for his VP. All right. But upon this now, okay, and we get into the tweets now, all right, but we get into the tweets that were up here now, but before the announcement, okay, Donald Trump tweeted this. Okay, I am pleased to announce that I have chosen Governor Mike Pence as my vice presidential running mate. News conference tomorrow at 11. That was tweeted. Friday, actually. All right, because you know, and then Mike Pence tweeted, honored to join Real Donald Trump and work to make America great again. All right, but you see now, this has, you know, I kind of was wondering about this all along, but the Veep stakes, my friends, and Donald Trump has picked Mike Pence as his VP. Governor Mike Pence, okay, now Governor Mike Pence, okay, Trump had originally planned to pick his have his news conference in New York on Friday, as I mentioned before, but postponed it in the wake of the terrorist attack in France. Okay, and of which, you know, the pick follows a very public vetting process that included meetings in recent days with Pence, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, all right, among others. The selection of Pence, who went from dark horse to leading contender in a matter of days, presumably is aimed at galvanizing support from the party's conservative base. Now it is interesting to note that the pick of Mike Pence was selected from a slimmer than usual shortlist of candidates, not only favored by Trump, but also willing to stake their political future on the unconventional and unpredictable White House contender. All right. Now, Pence also, the former member of, is a former member of the House Republican leadership, and emerged relatively late in the vice presidential sweepstakes. All right. So and then but he moved almost immediately to the top of the list, considering he gives the Trump campaign much needed social conservative credentials without the kind of political baggage that the Democrats had planned to exploit with Newt Gingrich or Governor Chris Christie. So you can see in a word, in several words, why Trump has picked Mike Pence to be his VP. Now, ironically though, Pence was born in Columbus, Indiana, okay, and one of 6 children of Nancy Jane and Edward J. Pence Jr., okay, who run a chain of gas stations, okay. Now, Pence gas station. Pence comes from a long line of oil and gas families, okay. So he's not new. This is actually, I think this is an excellent pick for Donald Trump as VP. Pence is actually for making us energy independent. Okay, so he's for drilling, drilling for our own oil and energy resources. He's for the Keystone Pipeline, right? Which, by the way, and he's for the coal companies, as is Trump. But in lots of ways, they're at odds on many issues. For example, the Iraq War. Okay, Trump was against going into Iraq, while Pence was for it. All right, but it's all centered on economic conservative issues and national security. So Trump actually made a good decision, and this is the first major decision that a president makes when considering leading the nation. All right. Now, interestingly enough, though. Okay. I want to mention that Pence. Okay. Now, Pence now has a very clean shot. Okay. Now Pence was also the governor of Indiana. Okay. Now Pence. Let me see. Now Pence was also in Congress. Okay, and then he ran for governor, and he became governor. All right, but with the selection of Pence now, right? It takes the Democrats now on a move that they didn't want to move on. All right, because the Democrats were so looking forward to cutting down somebody like Gingrich or Chris Christie. All right, but now we know that with the selection of Pence now, this sets it up. So Gingrich will probably be picked for Trump's Secretary of State, and Chris Christie is in the cabinet as Attorney General. All right, so this is actually very good for Trump. All right, and bad for the Democrats now. Good for the Republicans, bad for the Democrats. Okay, it's bad news for the Democrats. Okay, and I also want to mention something else here. All right, now the wide Pence was involved with Pence was also involved with the Religious Freedom Restoration Act in Indiana. that got so much backlash from the gay community. All right, now, and Pence also had aspirations to run for president prior to the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Okay. Now, ironically enough, though there were like 17 or 32 states, 32 other states that had Religious Freedom Restoration Acts. Okay, but the backlash that Pence got over the law was that the gay community thought that it could be used to discriminate against the gay community. So Pence had to revise the law to include gays, but the backlash over the Religious Freedom Restoration Act kind of dropped Pence's ambitions to run for president. So, on that note, with Trump, this is ironic because Trump picks Pence now, and it brings Pence this much closer now to becoming president of the United States. Oh, ironic. So now this could be considered payback. But all in all, I do think it is a good pick. I do think it is a good pick. Okay, Pence. So we now have Trump. Pence is the ticket. Okay, this is the winning ticket, and I see Trump winning in a landslide. All right, I can seriously see Trump winning in a landslide. Okay, so Trump picks Indiana Governor Mike Pence for his VP, and so as life goes on here, I want to bring up this little thing here. All right, you remember Bernie Sanders? Well, my friends, Bernie Sanders has kind of Bernie Sanders has kind of done a 180, and put his people on kind of like a little betrayal note here. All right, but Bernie Sanders, there you see him with Hillary, and Bernie Sanders now, we call this a betrayal. All right, okay, Bernie Sanders has betrayed his own people, has betrayed his movement. All right, now here Bernie Sanders is seen here in New Hampshire with Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Now, Bernie Sanders officially endorsed Hillary for president. Last Tuesday, effectively ending a primary campaign that defied expectations and tested the notion that Clinton's claim to the Democratic nomination was inevitable. Now, the crazy Vermont senator appeared with Clinton at Portsmouth High School in New Hampshire, congratulated Clinton for winning the Democratic nomination, saying that he intended to do everything that he could to make certain she will be the next president of the United States. Now this This is a betrayal, my friends. Okay, now, but he did it. He did it kind of cleverly, in a way that he kind of pushed Hillary even further to the left here. Now, apparently he made it a vendetta. Okay, or a referendum. Okay, and he made it clear that if Hillary did not add his liberal socialist misguided platform to her agenda, then he would not endorse her. So here he has Hillary Clinton in a corner, all right, and backed so far to the left in this corner, right, that he's making Hillary socialist, and this, my friends, is bad for the country. Not good for the country, my friends. Oh my goodness, Hillary. Now, so Bernie Sanders betrays his people and endorses Hillary Clinton. Okay. Now, my friends, we know that the two do not agree. You know, politically, really. Okay. So he got Hillary to include the free college, the health care, and whatever else that he was pushing, but you see, this goes against, okay, supporting Hillary goes against everything Bernie Sanders represents. Okay, and because truthfully, Bernie Sanders is the Democratic platform, is the Democratic message. Bernie Sanders, the socialism is the Democratic platform, mind you. All right, and supporting Hillary, endorsing Hillary, goes against everything that Bernie Sanders stands for and has fought for. All right, and so with this, you know, Hillary Clinton represents the status quo, or the status quid pro quo, I should say. All right. So you have here a candidate who's running for president. Okay. Who crushed her Democratic contender opponent. You know. She crushed Bernie Sanders with the flawed primary process, and she crushed Bernie Sanders with the FBI primary which I think is stupid. You know, she violated the laws. And she got away with it. She put our national security in jeopardy. The woman has trust issues. You cannot trust the woman. And lo and behold, you have Bernie Sanders betraying his convictions, betraying his people. You know, betraying his message. You know, she got contributions from Wall Street and the donor class and the big billionaires. You know, the billionaire class. And here Bernie Sanders, in conflict with his own interests and issues, just rolls over and rolls over and kneels down to Hillary Clinton. It's a shame, my friends. It's such a shame. He could have stood with his convictions and taken it all the way to the Democratic convention. But my friends, here he is, wide-eyed and actually he's more squinty-eyed. You know, in that picture, it doesn't really look like he. I mean, sure, he has a smile on his face, but you know, actually, you know what? If we look closer in, if we look closer in, wait a minute. There might be something that he has plotting in his little smile on his face there. I don't know. But I have a message for I have a message for the Bernie Sanders supporters. All right. You look at that endorsement, okay, and I don't know what you're thinking, but I know a good majority of you, in fact, all of you, are never, ever going to support Hillary Clinton. You know, I almost feel. I feel your pain, okay? I feel your pain. I'm not feeling the burn, but I'm feeling your pain, okay? And you know, it just sickens me that somebody would fight so hard and so much for their socialist values and socialist policies that they would bend down, roll over, play dead, or whatever, you know, and that they at the last second, you know, they would just give everything up and just endorse the enemy. The enemy of Bernie Sanders was Hillary Clinton. You know, and it's just sad to see someone of that stature. I mean, I'm not for Bernie Sanders. You know, I don't like his policies. I don't like his socialism. But Bernie, you did a bad thing. You did a sad thing. Okay? You let your people down. That's what you did. You know, and it sickens me to even see that. You know, it sickens me. You let your people down. You know, you fought a good fight. You fought well, I wouldn't call it a good fight, but in your view, for your position, you fought the good fight. Okay? And you let yourself lose. You let yourself lose. You gave up. And you let your people down. You know, all Bernie Sanders supporters should be ashamed. Should be ashamed. And you know, come election day, we will see who the true victor is. And I believe that true victor will be Donald Trump. Okay. You know, and you know, so now, before I get to the phone calls, my friends, right, I have something on my mind that has come up. It's in national news, and it's all over the world, my friends. It's all over the world. It's a new craze. It's a new craze coming up. You know, that has been going on. If you have noticed, there have been people out there just wandering around like zombies with their eyes glued to their phones. And my friends, this isn't a pretty picture. Alright? This isn't a pretty picture. I've posted it on Facebook. Okay? But there's several people out there that are just zombies, and they're brainwashed to this new crazy game called Pokemon Go. You know what? It's just sad. Okay? It's just sad that so many people can be brainwashed into a game like this. It's a new app. Okay? You have it on your smartphones, and people are playing it out there, and everywhere I go, I see people just walking the streets, you know, just you know, with their eyes glued to the phone, you know, and it's a stupid game that people are playing. You go out. Apparently, you collect Pokemon balls or whatever whatever it is, you know. And the game tells you to go certain places and find these Pokemon, you know, and stuff. But on top of that, you know, there may be subliminal messages in there. But you go out and you look for these Pokemon, you know, balls or whatever, you know, and it's just so stupid. People are just in a trance over this. Already 4 people have died playing this stupid Pokemon game. I'll tell you what, you know, it's not a good thing, because people walk around like zombies with their eyes glued to the phone, not paying attention to what they are doing. It is insane. One guy walked out in the middle of the street playing the game, got killed, got hit by a car. Another woman was playing the game while driving, and she died. It's worse than texting while driving, my friend. Another woman was playing the game, walked over by a lake, and she found a dead body in the lake. It was someone who played the game. And in Russia, there was a guy who died. He was in the middle of the street putting up stoplights. He was playing the game. He got killed. You know, 4 people have died playing this game. And You know, so I always tell people, don't be a Pokemon zombie. This is not something I want to subject my kids to. Alright? It's not a good thing. Kill the Pokemon app. It's insane. These idiots walk around, their eyes glued to the phone. It's your funeral, my friends. So I am here with a warning. Do not, I repeat, do not fall for this Pokemon game. It's bad news. It's a killer. Okay? It's not benefiting anyone. Stay away from the Pokemon Go game. It's just idiocy. It's insane. It's crazy. Think about your kids. You know, can you imagine what would happen if somebody had kids? Okay, say you have kids, all right, which I do, by the way. I have two beautiful children. I have two boys. All right, they're 6 and 7. All right, Charleston and Caden. But if you have kids, and you're watching your kids, but you're playing the game. You're not watching the kids. You're playing the game. That would be neglect. CPS would be involved, and you would lose your kids in a nanosecond. My friends, kill the Pokemon app. Okay? It's not doing anybody any good. I say, Pokemon, go F yourself. Alright? It's not doing anybody any good. And with that, my friends, I will take some calls. Alright, if you've been paying attention. Okay, 272-0319 okay, is the number. Alright? So, who's out there? Who wants to chat? Okay, 272-0319. That's the number. I know you've been paying attention. Alright? That's the story, my friend. Okay? So, with the convention underway, the GOP convention, which I think is going to run smoothly, tonight it starts. In fact, Melania Trump's beautiful wife, speaks tonight. Alright? But so next week I will get a lot of the clips. Or next week I will have a lot of the clips from the convention, and we will speak about the convention and how it went. All right. So, hello, you're on the air. What's on your political mind?
Well, Will, I think Democratic or Republican, we should start spending the tax money instead of 75% towards military spending.
No, we need to build up the military, my friend.
We need to spend at least over 51% of the tax paid forward for housing, laboring, and food.
No, look.
So it's been the lesson paid in food, house, and laboring.
Hey, look, listen.
And
listen,
the
stop.
75% that went towards building up the military.
Stop for a minute.
Went in weaponry manufacturing.
Stop for a minute.
Up. I mean,
Stop for a minute. Stop for a minute. Let me bring up something.
Congress invested the taxpayers.
Hey, you're rambling. Listen.
Payment and return.
Hey, listen.
75%
listen.
towards weaponry.
Let me bring up something.
And we
listen. Okay, let me stop you right there. Okay. Now you talk about housing and infrastructure. Okay. Now listen. Donald Trump. What was? Listen.
This is what happened.
Wait.
People's labor.
Wait. Donald Trump. Listen.
Never put it into
Listen. I gotta cut you off, man. I gotta cut you off. You just ramble. You don't let me finish. I was going to say Donald Trump is excellent for housing and infrastructure. What was he famous for? He was famous for not just The Apprentice, but he was a real estate mogul. All right? So he's good for infrastructure and housing and things like that. Okay? So Donald Trump will fix this. All right? Hello, you're on the air. What's on your political mind?
Yes, Donald Trump is a realtor. Correct?
Yes. So he's good for infrastructure and
Okay.
you know,
But the taxes
and he's good. He's good for the economy. He's good. He's good for the economy, and he pays his laborers. He pays the laborers a decent wage.
Went towards military spending, which did go into.
No, we need to go. We need to build up the military. It's national security. We need to make America safe
Did
again.
not put those endowment accounts.
Yes, he did.
They were needing for the people to retire on.
Yes, he did. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you for your call. Okay, now, but like I was saying, Donald Trump is excellent for improving things. All right, so you know this is a man that built an ice skating ring in New York City. All right, so he's perfect for the economy. In fact, all of the polls show that Trump is more trusted in handling the economy than Hillary Clinton. All right, and he's more trusted and more effective against ISIS, and he's more trusted with national security issues. So that means building up our military. That means putting money into our defenses. You know, not only defeating but crushing ISIS, and making it hard for any other terror groups to work. You know, so Trump is good for the economy. He's good for national security. He's gonna make America great again. He's gonna make America safe again, and he's good for balancing the budget too. Okay, so this is all coming on the heels now. All right, so we have a strong team now. All right, and so my friends, with the convention underway, all right, this is what I think is going to be the Trump cabinet. All right, Trump, okay, President of the United States. He's got his VP, Mike Pence, okay, for VP, okay, which, by the way, Pence dropped his is not running for re-election for governor of Indiana, because now he's on the ticket, on the GOP ticket, and this is the winning ticket, my friends. Okay, so Pence, VP, Chris Christie is going to be Attorney General, and Newt Gingrich will be Secretary of State. He's a historian. Ben Carson will probably be Secretary of Health and Human Services. All right, but there will be a place for everybody. All right. So, but you will see things come together in ways that you never imagined. Okay. And with that, my friends, I need to get to the last words for the night. All right. And so, moving on now. Okay. In light of the terrorist attack, we need someone that will keep us safe and protected, and that man is Donald Trump. Right. And so, my friends, I leave you with these words. Watch the convention and vote Republican. I believe Trump will win in a landslide. Alright. Once again, that's our show for tonight. That's all the time we have left. Follow me on Twitter at WilliamMitro2. And check me out on YouTube. Right. Once again, thank you for watching Political Point, where the right is right and the left is always on the wrong side of history.